With its ultra-rigid construction and neutrally balanced rider position, the ProClimb chassis incorporates stampings, forgings, and castings for maximum strength. Its design seamlessly integrates all of the load-bearing components, eliminating chassis flex and fatigue. But the best thing about the ProClimb is it keeps getting better. Troy Halvorson and his team of engineers discuss some of the significant upgrades in 2016, starting with the front suspension.
When we came out in 2012, we had a 40-inch wide front end. We got some feedback from the customers that it's a bit wide, so we dropped it down to a 38-inch. And we wanted to test, as we've been going along, test narrower yet. When do you get to the point where it's too narrow and starts feeling tippy on the trail? Because we were concerned about that as well. With testing, we went to a 36-inch ski stance, and we're pretty excited about it because we didn't have issues with tippiness on the trail, but yet the benefit of it is that you can get it to lay on its side a little easier. You can fit in through tighter areas, tighter trees. Especially boondocking is becoming way more popular for guys because they're not necessarily the point and shoot guys anymore. They're seeing if they could wind their way through the trees.
So we've got our new mountain ski here, which it starts out at 7 inches wide and then tapers down to 6.5 inches wide. It gives this snowmobile much better floatability. We've changed our keel a little bit to help us steer and control down the trail. We also have the ability to change our ski width. We wanted to give our consumer much more ability to adjust his front end. Not everybody is going to want to run a 36-inch front end. Some guys may want to push it out to a 38-inch, which is available to do in this ski here. And if a guy thinks he wants to be a little narrower than 36, he can also take it to 34.
But along with it, found some very big improvements with working with the caster angle of our front end. When the caster angle is how the spindle lays with the A-arms. When the ProClimb was first developed, we had a 17-degree caster angle. We like that because in the cornering, ski wants to stay flat to the ground so you get a good sharp edge to bite through the corners. The drawback of that on the mountain sled is when you're side hilling and you counter steer as you're going along the side of the hill, that outer edge of the ski wants to dig into the side of the hill. So by laying back the spindle to a 27-degree caster angle, we see that when you counter steer, that outer edge of the ski that's inside towards the hill is actually raised up out of the snow a little more. So you're kind of gliding along the surface of the side hill instead of trying to dig into it.
And with this caster change, when you turn the steering, the skis have a more angle to them, they roll up. So we see that on the cutting on the hillsides, the ski kind of follows the terrain of the hill, so you're not using as much effort to hold the side hill with the ski in there. It kind of rolls up the hill with you, so that helps with the side hilling a lot and help you maintain your line.
Along with that caster angle though, is we came up with a new spindle design. We really like it because it's not necessarily a lot lighter, but what the benefit you get from is when you're going through the deep powder and you're turning the skis, you can see it's a very narrow window that you're not letting the snow impede your forward progress. The snow actually wants to slide off of it rather than on our other spindle, it wants to dig into it and try to stop you. So this new, although looking also very different, it's actually got a huge function to it in that it helps you glide through the snow better. And then also when we went to this new design and changed the caster, we were able to go to a different upper A-arm to where we could get some weight out of it. So we found some good weight reduction with the spindle and the A-arms, and going to a 36-inch ski stance, we were able to take 2.4 pounds out of the weight of the snowmobile.
This snowmobile transfers a lot better through the snow. The front end feels lighter. When you're doing elevators or downhill powder turns, there's no resistance on the front end. It doesn't want a high side. It goes through the trees effortlessly. You can be very, very confident in making a turn. This snowmobile cuts one line through the snow. Feels like the side panel and the spindle are all in one line. I feel like it's made me a better athlete being able to do that.
Along with the changes that we made to the front end to make it handle better, we also did quite a bit of work on the rear suspension to improve the balance as well as the ride control.
And what we've done is this rail actually comes up approximately 1 inch higher than our old rail in 15, and the bend here is a little bit different. for better flotation. We've gone to a 12.5-inch front arm shock versus the old 11.25. Now we also have 6.5 inches approximately of front arm travel, where we were at only 4.25, 4.5 on the older model, which now gives our rider much more adjustability. If he wants to pull the front arm down and give it a little more ski pressure, then he can do that. Another benefit by raising this front arm up 1 inch is that now we can keep a consistent track tension on this snowmobile. So 20 pounds at 2 inches. So as the snowmobile goes through its range of motion from full extension to collapse, the track stays at a consistent 20 pounds.
To reduce weight and provide a more stable ride, Troy and his team also switched from a telescoping post to a fixed post on all M models.
The fixed vertical post worked very well in all the conditions. The rider will have the opportunity to put a different riser on if he wants to go a little taller, or if he's on the trail more, maybe he might want to go to a shorter riser. But we went away from the telescopic just because we were seeing that a lot of those mountain riders would rather have less weight.
All of our mountain sleds now have a shorter heat exchanger in them, and the reason we went with the shorter heat exchanger was just for snow buildup. So we noticed that when we didn't powder coat our tunnels, we were getting a lot of snow buildup on our snowmobile, right here, particularly on the back. And so we noticed by going with the shorter exchanger and a powder coated tunnel, we just basically eliminated any snow buildup back here.
The ProClimb chassis and the ProClimb suspension, built to be lighter and more durable. Because once an Arctic rider has conquered one mountain, he's got to conquer them all.